What is your stance on that, by the way, marijuana?
You know, there are not enough Pennsylvanians to work in Pennsylvania. So giving them pot so they stay home is not, I don't think, an ideal move. I also don't want to breed addiction to marijuana. It's not physical addiction, it's emotional addiction. But I don't want young people to think they have to smoke a joint to get out of their house in the morning.
That was former colon cleanser spokesman Dr. Oz. And he's concerned that legalizing marijuana will rob Pennsylvanians of their precious mojo. Oz was responding to his Democratic opponent, Pennsylvania Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman, who told reporters he supported legalizing pot, a position supported by a supermajority of Pennsylvania voters.
We need to get Pennsylvanians back at work. You got to give them their mojo. And I don't want marijuana to be a hindrance to that. I also don't want people operating heavy machinery and driving by me when they've been taking their fourth joint of the day.
Oz says he opposes legalization to save Pennsylvania from a crippling wave of marijuana addiction. But he also went further, saying he didn't want Pennsylvanians operating their bulldozers while high on the weed. Apparently, nobody told Dr. Oz that it's still a crime to drive under the influence, even in states where marijuana is totally legal. But this isn't about facts for Dr. Oz. It's about distraction. Oz is desperate to make Fetterman's progressive values an issue in this campaign, and he's choosing some weird hills to die on. In one of the strangest campaign ads I've ever seen, Oz tries to scare Pennsylvanians by telling them Fetterman supports marijuana and wants them to have better health care. Take a look.
Looks like he has some screws loose. What's this? Fetterman wants to release 1/3 of all prisoners. That's crazy! Spend more tax dollars, everything will cost more. That's nuts. Slow energy production, gas prices will skyrocket. That's ridiculous. Socialized medicine? Where do you get these crazy ideas?
But this time there's something different about the national conversation on marijuana. Fetterman went further than Democrats have in the past. He told reporters he would also urge Joe Biden to reschedule marijuana at the federal level when the president comes to Pennsylvania for a campaign stop later this week. That's right. For the first time in over a decade, national Democrats are actually staking out a leadership position on marijuana, instead of falling victim to Republican traps and attacks. And that's a national phenomenon, too. A new Gallup poll shows that marijuana use is at an all-time high. And while we can argue about whether or not that's a good thing, it does mean more Americans than ever have first-hand experience with weed. All of a sudden, the GOP's reefer madness arguments are falling flat. Republicans like Dr. Oz are asking their consultants why their anti-marijuana messages are flopping. But the answer is simple. It's a lot tougher to lie to people about the dangers of weed when they know you're lying to their face. And with deep red states like South Dakota rushing to legalize weed, it's not even clear that these 21st century prohibitionists even speak for the Republican Party anymore. And that makes sense. You'd need to smoke a lot of weed too if Donald Trump was the head of your party. Major drug reforms have never looked more achievable. Even some Senate Republicans are hinting that they would support efforts to reschedule marijuana. And with a string of big victories boosting his approval ratings, Joe Biden finally has the political capital to make a truly bold move, turning marijuana legalization into a major midterm campaign issue. And Biden has a good reason to act. In key states like Wisconsin, marijuana legalization is way more popular than Joe Biden is. Nearly 70% of Wisconsinites support legalizing marijuana. And Biden won Wisconsin by less than 1% in 2020. I hate to lecture the president, but this really is the definition of low-hanging fruit. Joe Biden should act immediately to reschedule marijuana. That action alone will save countless Americans from imprisonment for nonviolent possession offenses. And it would force Republicans to spend the fall campaign season defending their incredibly unpopular views on weed. It would also be an amazing reminder to the American people that Democrats, for all their faults, really can deliver on their progressive promises, even if they might do it slower than some of us might like. With Democrats facing growing pressure to legalize the green stuff and Republicans running out of scary weed overdose stories to peddle on Fox News, this is the moment for action. And for all of the political benefits, we must never forget that this is fundamentally about basic justice. Joe Biden has a chance to make real a major Democratic dream while making our country a more just and fair place in the process. He has no excuse to delay. If you made it to the end, thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like and consider subscribing, and leave a comment below to let me know what you think I should cover next.